I need to do a sequel to the video that brought most of the people here, the one about how my husband lost his job at 56. Apparently, a lot of people only watched the first few minutes of it and they don't realize that it's 8 years later. And I would like to let them know what has happened, what's transpired since then. I said, I've got to go to the store. I don't have coffee. And it's like, okay, I've got to go get coffee because I really need to get caffeinated up to talk about this. And when I get back, I'm going to talk some more. So I hope you guys will stay with me. Okay, well, that was quick. Man, it is so beautiful out today, you guys. It's gorgeous. Clear blue sky, not a cloud in the sky, but it's cold, but that's okay. I got a coat, so I don't know. I'm thinking about doing that walkie-talkie video that I was telling you guys about. This might be the day to do it. I gotta think about this. I do have some things that I need to do at home. I did buy creamer. I gotta take that home, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, look at that. How beautiful. Just perfect. Okay, you guys, here we go. Part 2 of my husband lost his job of 30 years at the age of 56. Spoiler alert, we survived. It's 8 years later. My husband's 64, I'm 63. I'm working 2 part-time jobs right now, looking for a third. My husband works full-time and is hoping to retire in the next year and a half. I'm thinking if I'm lucky, maybe I'll retire at 67. If my health holds out, I might work till 70. The key to that, though, is finding a job that you enjoy doing. Otherwise, I don't think I would be doing it. So, but ever since I posted that video, I have gotten so many wonderful responses. And you want to know what my takeaway on it has been? The people that have the most money, that have the big savings and the 401ks and the pensions and stuff, those are the ones that have been the most doom and gloom. Because to them, it just would be horrifying. And I think that's why they watch the video. They want to see what would happen, but then the other people like you and I that have lived through it or, understand it, have given me the best advice of how to move on and make the best of it. Like I said, it's 8 years later. So, we made the best of it. What did we do? Well, we were fortunate because we did have some savings and we lived off of that for a while. We almost ended up starting our own business. We thought maybe this is the universe's way of telling us it's time, because we had tossed that idea around for a while, because with the money we had, we thought maybe we'll just, start our own business. That could be kind of fun, but we were too nervous about it. So I am so glad that we didn't invest most of our savings, because that's what we were going to do, or a big chunk of it anyway. And then it was just a couple years later that the lockdown happened. For sure we would have lost it, a new business like that. So I'm so grateful that we didn't go that route. My husband was able to find another job in the same field because he hadn't, worked his way up. He had to start all over, but he didn't have to start at the bottom. He didn't make as much money as he did before, but it was enough. It was enough to cover the bills. But we found ourselves living paycheck to paycheck again in our 50s. So yeah, that was kind of a blow, but I'm not crying about it. It wasn't the end of the world. We're tough. I was poor. I grew up poor. I can handle poor. I was the coupon queen. And so for me, as it was upsetting. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like I was excited that he lost his job and we had to live off of our savings. But, we rerouted. We just had to learn how to do things differently. And it did change our plans, of course. And like I've said before, neither one of us were very financial savvy. We didn't know how to invest. We were scared. We weren't raised in that type of family. We just didn't understand it. But since then, my son, thank God, he has really gotten into it and he does very well. And I'm very proud of him. And he's kind of helping us. So we're learning a little bit, and ideas are all over the place online. Some people say, oh, do this. And other people say, oh, no, that's so wrong. You got to do this. So I take everything with a grain of salt. I'm still not sure exactly which way we're going to go. Right now, we're just going to keep working. And I think I'll probably wait until I'm 67, because at that point, there's no cap to what I can make. I can just keep working, because right now I think it's only like 22,000, and I make more than that right now working part-time. So it wouldn't be worth it for me to take my Social Security at this point. But if I was only making like 10 or 15,000, then yeah, I would consider it. So yeah, this is where we're at. We're working, but we're both healthy now. My husband did suffer a heart attack, but it's been 7 years, I think, since his heart attack, and he's on medication, and he's doing very well. He takes very good care of himself, but you never know what tomorrow will bring. None of us do, no matter how well you take care of yourself and what you're doing, you never know what's going to happen. So prepare for the unexpected. You just never know, especially as we get older, because what did I read? That people by the age of 66 are going to experience some sort of major health issue. And I'm 63, he's 64. So those things can happen. But yeah, like I said, it was scary for sure. And we were fortunate, but I know a lot of people that weren't, and they're still making it. They're still, as long as you're willing and you have a positive mindset, I think that's half the battle. Because if you get scared and you freak out and you're like, oh my God, the sky is falling, yeah, it's going to be bad. That's just going to make things worse. You got to realize you have to dig your heels in and make the best of it, however that is. For each of us, it's different. We all have our own path to follow. We're not all the same. I wish it was easy for everyone. Some of us were just more financially savvy. Some people came from families where they, inherited lots of money and they were able to reinvest it. Just, different things. The market was different at certain points in time, buying houses, the interest rate, things have just changed, up and down. So you never know what somebody else is going through or what their experience is. It may not be the same as yours. Some people say, yeah, you should stay with the same company forever and work your way up. Other people say that's ridiculous. You should bounce around from job to job. Everybody's got their own beliefs, and, and that's fine. I'm a live and let live kind of person. Whatever works for you. But just because it works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Of course, somebody messaged me, but because we're all different, so, but don't be afraid and don't be embarrassed if you're in that position. I didn't talk about it because it was embarrassing. I felt like a big failure, but it was beyond our control. It wasn't anything that we had done. My husband worked very hard, and he was, and the people that lost the business, it wasn't their fault either. We just wish they had given us more notice. And, it wasn't like they took a ton of money and ran off to Mexico. It wasn't like that. We know them. But things just had gone bad for them. And he had health issues as well. So we know some things that happened. We don't know the whole, story behind all that. It just, like I said, it would have been nice to prepare, but what would we have really done different? Even if they'd given us a month's notice, we would have still been in the same position. So I can't really say that it would have made anything different. But yeah, so that's the follow-up story on that, because I know a lot of people just read the headline and commented, or maybe watched 2 minutes and they didn't realize I do tell you there that, it was 8 years later. This is something that had happened, years ago. But I just wanted to put it out there because I see it happening more and more. And I was hoping maybe to encourage other people and to get some good advice. And I did. I got some good advice. I've got some really terrible advice, but I've got a lot of great advice. People have shared things that they've done to deal with the economy. And I've even heard from some people that are in the financial world and telling me what they think that we should do. They've made suggestions. People have been very kind. So yeah, if you're interested in all that, read the comments from that post of when, my husband lost his job, because there is some wonderful advice. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I've got a lot to do. It's Monday. It's my day off, which means I got a lot to do around the homestead here. So I'm going to get to that, but I just wanted to drop in and to talk about that. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.